Hello and welcome to the AI Summit London. My name is Rui Dukid and I'm delighted to introduce Sourav, the Senior Platform Product Manager at AP Moller Maersk. Thank you so much for joining me. For the folks at home, it'd be great to give you just a little bit of background on how you landed up at Moller Maersk.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me here. I joined Maersk almost 3 years ago. I'm based in London, while the company headquarters in Copenhagen. I was with Amazon earlier before joining Maersk, and before that I was working in a company in Dubai, in Middle East. It was like kind of like a serendipity when one of my previous managers, he moved from Amazon to Maersk, and he told me about this opportunity which looked very exciting to me, and that's how I kind of ended up in Maersk. Yes.
So to kick things off, what inspired the development of the category strategy assistant at Maersk, and how does it address key procurement challenges?
Yeah, right. So of course, like when I landed here, this was not the first product which I built. Initially, I had to lay the foundations. So probably I'll give a background what I do here. So Maersk has a platform structure, which means that we build products mostly for our in-house users. Of course, we have different platforms like sustainability, pricing, and so on, which also build products for the external customers like, let's say, the Puma or Amazons of the world who try to move products, or their own products through Maersk. What my platform, which I belong to, is procurement platform. So that is to build products for it's like 2,500 plus procurement users across 130 countries of Maersk. And what we're trying to do is we have different sections within the procurement platform. There's a sourcing side, there's a contracting side, there's a payment side. What I'm leading are the initiatives around sourcing, especially strategic sourcing. So initial first year or two it went in building the foundations, where we onboarded a third-party partner to help our users with sourcing, especially strategic sourcing, e-sourcing, bidding, and all. Now, what I'm currently building is the journey before the sourcing. That is where the category strategy assistant product, which I'm building now. So it's like it's a fascinating product. It's kind of tries to decode the tacit knowledge and the brainstorm which happens before a procurement manager goes to a sourcing journey. So all that is currently happening in spreadsheets and Excel's, PowerPoints, in local desktops of a procurement manager let's say in US or in South Africa. What I'm trying to build is to have a unified, standardized platform where the procurement managers across all 130 countries should be able to see their category strategy being shaped. And not just that, it also will be dynamic. That means it will respond to live market conditions instead of it sitting statically in a PowerPoint in somebody's local desktop.
And following on from that and building the key strategy assistant, how does that transform a category manager's workflow? And could you share a practical example?
Yes, great question, because of course, there was a need for this, and that's why we wanted to build this, right? So the need essentially came from the fact that we saw all the procurement managers, they would try to create a strategy once in a year. And every time they would try to create a strategy, they would always start from scratch. And for doing that, they would move around different data systems, all fragmented, all siloed, and it would take a lot of time. And because it would take a lot of time, that would also mean that some of the countries would not even adopt a category strategy because of the sheer groundwork which needed to be involved in to build those category strategies. So the idea was to give them a platform where the work, all the research work, which would otherwise take 6 to 8 weeks, would be condensed to few hours, where just by picking some few buttons on the portal, they would be able to see the recommendations for category strategy for their particular country geography before they go into the sourcing world. It's the time difference, which was the key motivator.
Brilliant. And moving on from onto the kind of knowledge work, and what shifts have you observed in knowledge work as AI moves from information gathering to decision making, and why do leaders often underestimate the challenge?
Yeah, again, I think your question already has the answer in a way, because it's exactly the shift we are also looking at. We have veterans, let's say I talk about the procurement world. We have veterans who have been with Maersk for 10, 15 years. So they have some way of working. They know their own market very well, right? But currently, without, let's say, an AI-powered tool, most of their time is spent in gathering all the information, in doing all the research work, which has become much more easy today with the help of AIs and LLMs, right? So that's where we want to turn the ratio, where essentially the time currently, I would say around 60, 70% of the time is spent in gathering information and 30% is spent in actually making the decision. We want to do exactly transverse that ratio, where they should spend minimum time in gathering information and they should spend more time in getting into the decision or working on the intelligence which the tool would provide them. Yeah, because that is where they would add value. The other question which you had is why industries are kind of underestimating this. I would not say they're underestimating it. I would say that they are going a bit slow, especially the legacy companies, because in legacy companies especially, the change management becomes a very important part here. So everything comes at a time with a time frame here. So the leaders, they understand this, but they also don't want to be very hard on the actual ground force, where there is always some kind of a, let's say, a kind of like a Frankenstein kind of a fear that, hey, if I allow AI to do this, will I lose my job?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that fear of people being replaced by AI, when actually the conversations we've been having seems to be very much like, where's the human touch points and how we governance exactly. That makes complete sense. I think the next part, just following leadership, the conversations I seem to be having is about the challenges that face organizations that then is with AI and then scaling it. What are some of the challenges you're facing and how could you be addressing, how are you addressing them, should I say?
Yeah, I would talk about three things here. One is, the first important part is the adoption. So first point is adoption here. So in this case, it's very important to build that trust loop with the users here, right? If I ask the users, in this case, I'm taking an example of, let's say, the procurement managers, because I come from that world. If you just straight away give them a portal and ask them, hey, here is what AI is telling, just do this. They will never do that, right? So what I'm trying to do is, right from day one, I have identified those change agents, the champions, who are part of this co-development of this entire tool. So they know what the model is building based on their own intelligence, based on whatever experience they have got. So they're co-creating the product instead of just being thrust upon to use a product. So this adoption part comes very closely with the trust loop, which comes with engaging with these users right from the beginning. Also about giving those parameters like, let's say, confidence score or any kind of a explainability layer when the product is built, so that the users know that there is some kind of confidence attached with the recommendation which the tool would give. So that is the adoption part linked to the transparency. Second one is on, I think I'll sound like a broken record if I talk about it, which is availability of data. So no AI works without data, right? So it is required that we have data in place, otherwise AI will always hallucinate, right? So in our case also, we have different categories, but the first categories which we decided to embark on are the ones where we had enough data, right? Because without that, it will be a meaningless exercise. And the third one is defining the right success metrics. So for me or any product developer of an AI product, it's not about the accuracy of the model or the accuracy of the AI product. It's about the business outcomes. What is the actual benefit that either the users are getting or companies getting in terms of productivity, in terms of cost savings, dollar savings. So no one, I mean, it's for a product manager, it is always good to have a matrix about accuracy, but it doesn't mean much if it is not eventually helping the organization or the users.
And with that, with what you've kind of learned in the process of that, what practical advice would you give to other leaders to ensure successful JNI implementation into their organization, whether that's from what you've been able to achieve with your team or a wider remit?
Yeah, kind of on those three principles, right? So adoption, engage you identify the champions in the team, right? Are the key business users. Engage them early on. Let them be part of the co-development or the entire journey. In terms of data, that's something which cannot be done post facto. But if you are really trying to build a AI product, maybe focus on those products or those domains where you already have good structured data. And the third one is on the metrics again, like go by what the tech metrics are definitely important, but more important is the business metric or what kind of benefit the users are getting in terms of productivity, in terms of dollar savings.
Going forward, next 12 months, what's on the horizon for you? What trend within that Gen AI space are you hoping to maybe implement or even just develop?
Yeah. So I can probably reflect on this. It's been kind of like a hockey stick kind of curve, isn't it? Like how things are moving fast. Like last year, around same time, I was in different summits where people are very excited about prompting, about using LLMs for regular questions and all. And AI agents were a dream for the future. Now AI agents are already in action. So it's no longer a theory. It's already the agents are doing things instead of. So people, of course, like for normal users like you and me, probably we use ChatGPT and Claude a lot for regular day-to-day queries. But the industries and legacy industries also, they have already started factoring the role of AI agents, where the agents would not just prescribe or recommend, they would start doing things. And that is already a work in production or work in progress, the role of agents. Second is on adoption, right? So this is what I see is that more than the tech readiness, there is going to be a constraint around the readiness of the users, or let's say of both internal and external, to absorb those changes, right? Because it's happening at a disproportionate pace. So tech definitely is trying to catch up with every new Claude release or every new ChatGPT release. But more than that, the change management becomes more important than ever, where the users would also need to keep pace. And this is where I see there's a gap which needs to be addressed as fast as possible. I mean, this is a trend which I'm saying there is no direct solution for this, right? Because no one is anticipating at what pace the tech would be going ahead. But then we have to be cognizant that the users should also be ready to use those or accept those changes. Right?
Yes.
And third is, I think, use of Gen AI in supply chain and procurement. It has taken a very steep curve already on this. It started with all these changes around prompting, around user or around consumer-facing changes. Let's say where the B2C users were responding to some of this AI related changes. For example, if you look at Amazon, we have this Rufus or other agents where you can just ask different questions there. But now, this was what was happening last year. Now already the Gen AI developments have seeped or it has gone into the B2B side of things as well. But within the organization, it is now creating changes in terms of, let's say, making advancements in strategic sourcing or supply chain tech or autonomous negotiations. Just like agent is talking to another agent. So it's no longer related to or limited to only the consumer, but it has gone into the B2B side of things.
Yeah, so getting a 360 kind
Yes.
of more model.
Yeah.
Fascinating. And just to wrap up, first time at the AI Summit London, what's your experience so far? And, what's been your biggest takeaway thus far?
Yeah, it's been a fascinating experience so far. First time, definitely, but I would love to come back again here because what I found out is that, and I've been to a lot of this talks and also some of this expos here, is that I see a lot of the people here who are practitioners who are actually building something and failing and building. So it's no longer a theory in motion. It's about people actually doing stuff and sharing their learnings. So that is my takeaway, and that is more believable than, let's say, a theoretical lecture, right? I can see products in practice and being applied. And same goes for my panel as well, right? Where we're talking about, it's an applied AI track. where we were looking at application of AI in the industrial world. So learning from all these companies and from peers about how they're applying is definitely, it's more enriching than just going into a theoretical discourse.
Thank you so much for your time, and thanks for the great insights as well. Thank you for watching. My name is Reshaping, and this has been the AI Summit London.